Hello, it's me, Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist, and we are getting ready for Gateway, though I am here today with David Silverman, who is the president of American Atheists. David, I don't believe you have plans to go to Gateway to Reason, but you were one of Thomas True's inspirations for creating the conference in the first place 2 years ago. And I know you are busily at work putting together the American Atheist Convention. So I wanted to get your opinions on conferences and how we can encourage people to go to conferences.
No. Well, Tom, first of all, thanks for having me on the podcast. And also, thank you, Thomas, for saying that I'm one of your inspirations for putting together this convention. I regret that I won't be able to attend Gateway to Reason, but I hope it's a great success. So here's the scoop about conventions. I've been in this movement for 21 years. And when I first got involved, it was all about the issues. And the issue back then was the RFRA and the growth of Christian cults, the Promise Keepers, got me involved really hard. And so I came to the movement because of the issues. But when I walked into that room with 200 or so atheists for the first time back in 1996, I felt an immediate relief, an immediate camaraderie, an immediate feeling that I was part of a group. And it was the first time that I felt like that. And it was very, very empowering momentarily. What happened then was that I met the people in that room. I met people like Neil Carey, Kathy Johnson, Wayne Aiken, Dick Hogan, a whole bunch, Ellen Johnson, a whole bunch of people, Dave Kahn, I mean, a whole bunch of people. I could just rattle off their names that became my friends for life. Boom. And it was the convention, it was the social aspect that kept me in the movement. It was the issues that brought me in, but it was the socialization that kept me in. And since then, the movement has exploded. And conventions have taken on a whole new event, a whole new thing. It used to be that conventions were a bunch of atheists sitting in a room looking at a thing, and that was the end. And the atheists were mainly middle class and older white guys. And when I became president, we took our conventions in a different direction. And I'll just, I'll say what's on my mind. We took the conventions in an extremely different direction, made them fun, brought things like costume parties to the idea, brought things like fun and movie nights and Cards Against Humanity to the table. We brought the fun, but we already had the fun in the people. So one of the things that I've noticed as the movement has expanded, and the movement has really exploded in 20 years. In 20 years, the movement's a completely different thing. And a lot of times now what happens is that people look online, and people online can be real assholes. Okay, they just can. And they can be atheists or Christians or Jews or Muslims, and they can be assholes, and they can be masquerading as any such. And people start saying, well, you're not atheist enough, or you're too atheist, or you're this, you're that, and let's find that thing that we disagree on and let's fight about it. And the hostile, the online atmosphere has become more hostile, where it used to be much more camaraderie based. The thing that I'd like your viewers to know is that it's different in person. And that when you go to these conventions, you make friends. You make a lot of friends. You make good friends, intelligent, well-read, well-informed, good people who come to these conventions. And I can't recommend it enough. If you have never walked into a room full of 300, 500, 700, 1,000 atheists, you need to do that. You need to have that experience. Just walking into the room is a thing in and of itself. And then when you start talking to these people and you realize that they're not the people online fighting about you're a racist because you think Islam is bad. That all falls to the side. And because the people who are like that don't come to conventions, by and large.
Yeah.
The people who come to conventions are the people who are there for fun, for education, to socialize, to learn. Really, it's about fun. It's not so much about education. We sneak education in, and we sneak activism in our conventions. The American Atheist Convention, I can't speak for Gateway to Reason now. I'm speaking only about the American Atheist Convention. The number one objective of the American Atheist Convention is fun, because that's why people go. So at our upcoming convention, we're going to have a Cards Against Humanity tournament. We're going to have a fancy dinner with the costumes. We're going to have a total eclipse of the sun. And we're going to bring in an astronomer, and she's going to narrate the total eclipse of the sun. We want our conventions to be different from everybody else's because that's the nature of things. So we create, at American Atheists, we create events that people will remember, and people will be able to separate out from the rest of the conventions that they go to. And to those people who come to our conventions, they might see a pattern that every one of the conventions that American Atheists has had since I've been president has been different in some way, has been interesting in some way, different, and it's almost always been fun. Like in Memphis, we gave everybody green t-shirts, and we had the convention right out on Beale Street in Memphis. And that's the big walking street where everybody goes downtown in Memphis and listens to all the music. And we had 850 people in green t-shirts converge on this Beale Street area, and we just took over the night. And everybody had a fantastic time. And it's not hard to organize things like that. Just give everybody a t-shirt and tell them to go to downtown. And that's what we did. And everybody had a fantastic time. The year before that in Salt Lake City, we toured around and marched around the Mormon temple. And in 2013, we had our event in Austin. We went on the bat cruise, and we all got peed on by bats, all of us. I mean, it's the kind of thing that allows people to bond to other people. The reason I am president of American Atheists, the reason I am still involved with American Atheists, the reason I'm still involved with the movement, really, is that the people rock. The people are awesome. And yes, the movement is important. Of course, the movement is important, I mean, I don't want to say things wrong here, but what I'm saying is that the movement and the issues are all important. But what keeps people in the movement is the fact that the people who go to these conventions are good, and fun.
Well, Thomas is working very hard in making this particular conference. He's had a lot of singers and comedians, and several podcasts are going to be there. And he's doing raffles and likewise a dress-up thing. He's working on making it a lot of fun, because that is exactly it. It's important to have fun. That's the whole purpose we go to these things, is not only to meet fellow atheists and people that are like-minded, but also to meet people who don't necessarily have the same view as you, and a little bit more diversity. And it's true, when you meet them in person, they are very different than what you find online.
Yeah.
And immediately you make friends. My first conference was 3 years ago, and my second conference, I met a lot of the same people, and it was like meeting old friends again. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I can't say how much more I could enjoy these conferences, because
it's almost like a family reunion.
It's true. Exactly. You feel this instant connection with people, because you go to most places and you don't know where they stand. You don't, most people are religious. But when you go to an event like this, everyone's kind of on the same page, which is nice. It's nice to know that you're not going to get into a fight with somebody over, their beliefs. Well, you might, but it's going to be over.
It'll be over a beer.
Yeah.
And the difference in the beliefs will be, quoting Ronald Reagan, somebody who agrees with me 95% of the time is my friend. And the disagreement is about that 5%.
Yeah.
But it's if I can swear, it's a bullshit disagreement. I mean, we can talk about all that stuff, ad infinitum. I can get really, really hot under the collar about somebody who says things like, I'm not an atheist, I'm an agnostic. Well, if you say that to me, you're going to get, now listen, okay?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are talking ally to ally here.
Yeah.
We are talking friend to friend here. We are talking that 5%. In fact, in that case, we're talking about the 1%.
Yeah.
And I think that one of the ability of atheists to put aside our minor differences and focus on the big picture is magnified in person. And the people who are really, really hep on making enemies inside the movement, they don't come to these things because our message is too inclusive.
Yes.
We're the people who hate people who aren't X enough.
Yes.
The people who are, the easy thing that comes to mind is the people who think that criticizing Islam is racism. Okay? There's like 5 people in the atheist movement who thinks criticizing atheism is racism. Okay? They're wrong. Guess what? They're not coming to the convention. People who are coming to the convention are the people who want to hear people like Zarin Feroz, the Bangladeshi blogger who's got death threats against her, who's here on asylum, who wants to talk about, who's coming to the American Atheist Convention to talk about the death threats against her in the name of Islam, the God of love, and Allah, the God of love. So, I mean, and in Memphis, we had Ayaan Hirsi Ali. So it's, I guess there's a weeding out, but there's also this nourishing atmosphere where we allow people to come in. Everybody's expressing their views. Everybody says what they mean, but it's in an atmosphere of camaraderie. It's in an atmosphere of brother and sisterhood, and it's in an atmosphere of ally with ally. And I can't recommend it enough. It's really a beautiful experience to attend. I remember in Salt Lake City and in Memphis, people attend the conventions. In fact, this has happened at every convention, at every American Atheist convention that I've run. And it's their first convention, and it's their first time even expressing their atheism. I remember specifically in Salt Lake City and in Memphis, people crying, weeping, because they'd never actually been able to say what they thought. And it's extremely emotional for me. I get emotional over that. I get emotional over going into a city, a red city, and saying, hey, we're here, and the people coming in and just being so excited to be able to say that they're an atheist out loud for the first time. It's a beautiful experience to participate in as they go through that process. It's a beautiful experience to be a part of. Yeah. Even if you're not actually experiencing it yourself.
Yeah. I was having a conversation with somebody recently, and the homosexual community has come a long way that the atheist community is still kind of fighting to get acceptance.
Yep.
And one thing the gay community had was, we're here, we're queer, get used to it.
Right.
Atheists need a saying like that. We need to find something that rhymes. And because what a lot of people have is, they still don't recognize that people are atheists. They're like, how can you not believe? Right. And these conferences are a good focal point for finding other people that don't believe, that people feel more confident and secure in their non-belief, so that when they do go back home, they're able to say with, I don't want to say pride, but say, yeah, I don't believe.
Yeah, pride is a good word. We are right, and we are allowed to be proud of being right. We are allowed to be proud of escaping the indoctrination that some people have not been able to escape. We are right to be proud to be atheists. We are right to say it proudly. And yeah, we are definitely following in the footsteps of the gay community, which followed in the footsteps of the women's rights community, women's rights movement, which followed in the movements in the footsteps of the civil rights, or actually backwards. But these movements have all come along, and atheist civil rights, atheist equality is pretty much the last one.
Yeah.
And we're going to win. We are going to win. I mean, it's hard to think that we're going to win in the era of Trump, Pence, and McConnell. But watching Trump, Pence, and McConnell fail over and over and over again is fun. And watching them kowtow to religion, watching them throw so much support to the religious right that the religious right supports Trump, Pence, even in the face of colluding with the Russians, is going to hurt religion in a great big fat way. The Johnson Amendment.
One of the things I was wanting to ask you about was your thoughts on this, and I know it's been going on for quite a while, but it seems to have intensified some. These atheist end fighting. The atheism plus has kind of, I think, died off. And you touched on people face to face, and they find it much easier to avoid these conflicts. It's so easy to find online because you can hide behind whatever facade you want to put out there and have fight over every freaking little thing.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts on what's causing it, or is it just growing pains?
Well, it's all of the above. I mean, I think the biggest cause is not just the hiding behind the keyboard, it's that written communication is much less efficient than face-to-face communication. I think that if you can't have a conversation face-to-face, assumptions get made and inferences get made, and then offense gets taken at the inferences. I have been called almost everything. I have not been called a men's rights activist yet. I'm waiting for that one to come because I'm a hardcore feminist. I'm a loud and proud hardcore feminist. And to those of you out there who think, oh, feminism is bad because feminism has been taken over and this got this stuff and all this stuff, I ignore 100% of that. Okay? I am not going to allow anyone to tell me I'm not a feminist. And if somebody takes offense at that, I mean, if people throw names at me, I literally ignore it all. I mean, my Twitter account, there's so many people blocked on my Twitter account because, and they're just blocked or muted, and they don't even know they're blocked. And there's a reason for that. Once they start calling me names, once they start pigeonholing me, we're not talking about the issue anymore. And I think that my statements, the issues that I take on, the statements that I make, I can back them up. And I'm not saying I'm always right. I am saying I am sometimes wrong. And I have reversed my opinion on some drastic things in my career, most notably being the existence of Jewish atheism. I used to be a strong proponent for Jewish atheism. And now, as I wrote on my book, it doesn't exist. There is no such thing as Jewish atheism. It's total crap. And so that's a complete reversal that I've had in my thoughts based on data. Based on data. I'm happy to change my position, even if it's a closely held belief since childhood. But I'm not here to fight with atheists. I am not interested in fighting with atheists. And I'm not interested in atheists who want to fight with atheists. I just tone them right out. I do. I turn them right out. I don't care. I think a really good example is, we just had Reason Rally 2, and there were some people who were upset that Reason Rally 2 had a sexual harassment policy. And so they organized a boycott of Reason Rally 2. They're off my list. Yeah. And I didn't listen to their arguments. I don't care about their arguments. If they're saying no, this is activism, and I'm behind a keyboard, and I think this activism is bad, so we should have anti-activism. We should try and hurt activism. Again, sorry for swearing on your podcast,
it's fine.
But fuck you. I mean, we're activists. We're trying to do good. We're trying to make things happen. And if you're going to say that this policy is so bad that we have to organize against it, or if you're going to say that you said something here that I disagree with, and so you're a racist, or you're a fascist, or you're an anti-feminist, or too much of a feminist, or folks,
Yeah.
we have a war on our hands. We have literally a president, a vice president, a Congress, and a Supreme Court that is stacked against the separation of church and state. We have a problem. And if I'm going to come to you and say, let's have an event so that we can organize, and somebody's going to come back to us and say, I'm going to organize a counter event. I agree with you 99% of the time, but because this speaker is going to be there and he said something on Twitter that I don't like,
Yeah.
or because you have a policy against sexual harassment, and if you twist the words around, it might be misused, but it hasn't ever been misused. Or, I mean, if you're just finding a reason, any reason to hurt the movement instead of to help the movement, I lose it. I disconnect. And I think everybody should do the same.
Yeah.
I think if you follow a blogger or a vlogger or anybody who actually pushes against progress, who actually facilitates fractionalization of the movement, that person is a part of the problem. Now, I'm not saying that we shouldn't criticize each other. I criticize people in the movement all the time. Okay? I think this organization should do something different, and that organization should do something different. I think every organization should just be under my direction, and everybody should do everything my way. Guess what? That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That does not make them my enemies.
Yeah.
Okay? I mean, this is ridiculous. And I think the infighting comes from a combination of the growth of people, ergo the growth of assholes, combined with the unrich medium of text and Twitter, combined with this asinine attitude that we should be all aligned on all of the same issues all the time because apparently all atheists are the same. And an atheist can't be a Republican.
Yeah.
An atheist can't be a moderate. An atheist, who didn't vote for Bernie is a bad atheist. Or an atheist who did vote for Bernie is a bad atheist. Or an atheist, I mean, we can find all of the lousy reasons possible to allow the religious right to win. And that is exactly what we're doing.
Yes.
When you think about
I was having this exact conversation with David Smalley about just the silly things that drive us apart. And it's very disheartening seeing how many, especially on YouTube, atheist vloggers and bloggers directly, not just criticizing, but outright attacking other atheists. I mean, because I'm with you. We can disagree all day long and still be friends. But when you start attacking someone because you don't agree with them, that's a whole different thing, and that's destructive, and that isn't helping anyone. That's
it's stupid. It's stupid.
Yes.
It's dumb like a stick. It's dumb like a stick. What in the world are you doing? I got a stapler here that's smarter than the atheists who are picking fights with atheists over nothing and creating division. It's that stupid. We have a war. We have a problem. We have an issue, and it's not coming from the atheists who aren't liberal enough, or the atheists who aren't conservative enough, or the atheists who aren't feminist enough or too feministy. It's not coming from them. The problem that we have is from the atheist in the White House who is using religion to his personal gain. And we need to call that out. Yes. We need to call all of this out. And I wanted to make the point that we are doing religion the favor when we infight. This is exactly what religion wants. Religion is very good at unifying because God wants us to unify. We're bad at it, and that's exactly what religion wants. Religion wants all of us fighting over who's too humanisty and who's too atheisty and who's too feministy, and not doing events, not coming together, not voting as a block, not taking the words and to heart and coming out as atheists. because this guy's an atheist, and he sent this tweet, and that tweet, if I look at those 140 characters out of context, I could twist them around and see that's a little bit not what I wanted to say. So atheists are bad, and I'm not one of them. Folks, if you don't believe in a God, you're an atheist. And if you don't believe in a God and you don't call yourself an atheist because some other atheist said something you don't like, you're part of the problem. You're part of the problem, and you need to deal with it. You need to get your head out of your ass and realize that not all atheists are like you, but we are all on the same side. We need to work together, and we need to stop being stupid. And we need to start working together toward our common goals. And the best way to do that, the best way to connect, is to go to these conferences, to go to Gateway to Reason, to go to the American Atheist Convention, go to as many as you can, and have some fun. Meet some people for real. Meet humans. Look at them in the eye, shake their hand, have a beer or 5 with them, and realize that this is a community of good people, smart people who are here to do the right thing. And if you disagree with somebody 5% of the time, that's great. It's wonderful, because we're not all mindless automatons. We don't have a dogma. We don't have a book. We disagree on lots of things, except for the fact that there aren't any gods. And that's what we're here to talk about. The separation of church and state affects all of us. And we need to put any differences aside, because those differences are minuscule and irrelevant. Yes, I will say that, and it will anger people. But they are minuscule and irrelevant. We have a fight on our hands. We have a war to win. And we need everybody pulling on this rope so that we can succeed for our country and for our children. It's our patriotic duty to put our shit aside and work together.
Yeah, we need to focus on the 90% that we do agree on, and let go of the 10% that we don't.
Oh, just put it aside. Just put it aside. We don't have to worry about that. And that doesn't make us enemies. Even if we strongly disagree on the 10%, we still strongly agree on the 90%. Let's go there. Let's work that. You know, a lot of people, an analogy that I've used, I look at Congress people, and I'm just going to pick on former Congressman Rush Holt, because I know him and he's not in Congress anymore. He's a scientist. He's pro-choice, pro-gay rights, pro-death with dignity. But he's a Quaker. Okay? And he doesn't call himself an atheist. He calls himself a Quaker. Is he really an atheist? I don't know. But is he an enemy because he doesn't call himself an atheist? Well, what if somebody comes to our conventions and he's pro-choice and pro-death with dignity and pro-gay rights and a science person and calls himself a Quaker and not an atheist? I'm going to disagree with him, pretending for the moment that this person now is fictional, is actually an atheist and fits the definition. I'm going to have words about this guy. I'm going to sit him down. I'm going to say, look, you and I disagree because you call yourself a Quaker and you're an atheist. But I'm not going to call him a fucking moron. I'm not going to call him a bad guy. I'm not going to avoid going to a convention because he's there or because he's speaking. I'm not going to not have a beer with him. Come on. We have big picture goals here. And so many people are worried about this, this litmus test of intersectional feminism. And it's fine to be an intersectional feminist. And I'm, like I said, I'm a strong feminist and I'm loud and proud. But guess what? We have big wars to fight. And we have a big battle in front of us, and we're in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to worry about that. We have to worry about the separation of religion and government, and the infiltration of religion into our school systems, and the infiltration of religion into the Supreme Court and our Congress and our federal court system and our state court system. We have to worry about the religious right uprising, and we have to plan for their downfall. And I don't care how feministy you are if you're willing to work with me on that. Well, I care a little bit, but if you're not, a hater, let's work together. If you think I'm a little too extreme, or if you're not extreme enough for me, let's let's not go there. Let's work together, because you're pro-choice, you're pro-gay rights, you're pro-marriage, death with dignity, you're pro-separation of church and state, you're pro-science, you're pro, and we're all on the same freaking side here, Tom.
Let's work on things that move us all forward rather than those
Oh,
few things that move us backwards.
because when we work on the things that move us backwards, we push religion forward. We help
Yes.
religion, and we need to internalize that fact that our own infighting is religion's best friend.
I mean, we've been saying for years that, the infighting that religion has been, it's going to be the downfall of religion, and we're proving that we are just as susceptible to the silly fighting over because I suppose some atheists have grown tired with arguing with religious people, and now they just fight. It's like fighting with family. But anyways, you touched on it a little bit. Let's talk a little bit more about you. I know you got a book. What else do you got going on besides the American Atheist Convention?
I have a book, and it's really exciting. My book is called Fighting God, and it's the first atheist book. I'm the first career atheist in American history to be published by a major publisher. And I had this big book launch. Do I have any right here with me at my hand? No, but you can see the poster behind me. I was on a.
Yeah, I'll post a link on it for Amazon.
I'm sorry?
I'll post a link for it on Amazon.
Oh, thank you. And you can buy autographed copies at atheists.org. And you can get a membership at American Atheists and a free autographed book for $50 at atheists.org. I shouldn't have said the word free. It's a combined price. But anyways, the nice news is I went on a must have been 25, 30 city book tour, 4 countries, 3 continents, and I came back and I got the news that we're coming out in paperback. And so the big good news is that not only did the publisher take a risk on me by publishing the first atheist book of its kind, but they made money. We sold so much that they're coming out with a second edition. A paperback edition of Fighting God comes out August 8th. And I am really honored that it's happening. I mean, I just got the notification. I put an extra epilogue in the book. So if you have the first edition, the second edition will have a Trump-Pence epilogue about working through as a firebrand atheist in the Trump-Pence era and how important this fight has gotten and not to give up. So yeah, please check out the book. I will say that I'm also really honored that the book is being very well reviewed. Right now, I'm 4.75 out of 5 stars on Amazon. That's after 150 reviews. And that's 75% 5-star reviews on Amazon.
That's fantastic.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And 75% 5-star reviews on 150 reviews. That's a lot of 5-star reviews. It's not a preachy book. It's not about why you should be an atheist. It's not about why Christianity is wrong. It's about why firebrand atheism is ethical, good, and effective. It's about why people should use the word atheist, and it's about why doing what we're doing and being the in-your-face, vein popping out of your head, screaming atheist is the good guy and nice guy approach, and why the I'm okay, you're okay, let's hug it out, kumbaya, my truth is my truth, your truth is your truth kind of atheism is anti-humanistic, wrong, immoral, selfish, and lazy. And it's all masquerading as being good, and it helps religion. And I'll say that again. My truth is my truth, and your truth is your truth. I'm okay, you're okay. Doesn't help the country, doesn't help you, doesn't help the victim. It helps religion, and only religion. If you want to hurt religion and do the right thing, tell the person that you're talking to that they're wrong. and that you're right because they are wrong and you are right, and learn what those definitions actually mean, and learn what it means to actually say you're wrong and right, and put it out there and say, when they say you're attacking my closely held religious beliefs, tell them their closely held religious beliefs are wrong, that their closely held religious beliefs are nothing more than personal opinion,
Yes.
that they have a God, use your psychic powers, they have a God that agrees with them on all those issues, death with dignity, gay rights, marriage, every moral issue. Use your psychic powers and say your God agrees with you on everything, doesn't he? Well, that's because you invent your own God.
I have
Take
this
it down
conversation all
this
the time.
road. What?
I said I have this conversation all the time. I tell people, it's like, I don't care what you believe. I believe what you believe is wrong. What I have a problem with is that you're spreading your beliefs to other people, because what you believe, you've created in your own head. Your God is very specific to you. Every person who believes in God has a very specific God to them. So there's billions of gods, not just, there's, each person creates their own.
And
And
this is a huge issue, and this is the issue. This is the issue. I'm going to diverge a little bit here, but this is a really important issue, okay?
uh
The fact that all religion is cafeteria religion is a key thing that people need to understand. I remember after the Paris attacks, the Muslim terrorists walked through the streets of Paris shooting down civilians. And it was during the elections, and Hillary Clinton was interviewed. And it was my most disappointing moment with Hillary Clinton. It was when Hillary Clinton became, I still voted for her, don't get me wrong, but she went down a couple notches with this question. She said that the question was, what do we do about the terrorists in Paris? And her response was along the lines of, well, we have to kill them. They're bloodthirsty. They're barbarians. They're out for death. That was an extraordinarily ignorant thing to say. Like, stupid, ignorant thing to say. The truth is this. The people walking down the streets of Paris had something very, very important in common with Hillary Clinton, in common with the Westboro Baptist Church, in common with the nice Muslims down the street, the nice Christians down the street, and the nice Jews and Hindus down the street. And that is, they were sure God was on their side. Those people gunning down children in Paris thought they were doing good. They thought they were doing God's work. And we need to understand this mentality. And the reason that we don't talk about this mentality is because when you take this mentality to the next level, that means, oh, by the way, every Christian invents their own God too. And that means that Christian gods and Jewish gods and Muslim gods are all the same, and everybody invents it themselves. And that means that closely held religious beliefs are really just personal opinions. And that brings religion down to the level where it should be of opinion, thought, and nothing more, and not a place of privilege. And this is the reason that we have this extended conflict. This is the reason that this avoidance of this issue is why the religious right hates the left. And this is why the Muslims hate the Christians, and the Christians. This is why the Muslims down the street from you, the nice folks who live down the street from you, will look at the Islamists in Paris and say, those aren't real Muslims. But the Islamists in Paris would say the same thing about your neighbors.
yes.
Okay? And everybody's right. Everybody's making it up. And we have to address this because all religion is cafeteria religion. It's all individual. No religion is better than any others. And when we segregate out, when we ignore that and we say, oh, well, it's Islam that's bad, and all Islam is bad, we completely miss the point. We completely miss the point. It's not about Islam at all. It's about religion. It's about the lie of God. And it's about the indoctrination processes that happen on a local level, a very local level in some cases. And we need to address that. We're not talking about Islam when we're talking about Islamism. We're talking about Islamism. And we're talking about this cell. We're talking about these few people who have been indoctrinated into religion. doesn't matter which religion it is. It doesn't matter which religion it is, because it's not about the religion. It's about the interpretation of the religion.
Every person seems to have this idea that, their belief in God is the correct one. And I point this out to people all the time, that every person that you point out that they're the wrong kind of Christian or wrong kind of Muslim, or they've got the wrong belief, they're saying the exact same thing about you. Every person thinks they've got it right and everyone else has got it wrong. And I find that's what made me an atheist. It was going to several different churches and having every single church tell me how every other church had it wrong, and this specific church had it right.
So how do we know we're right? What makes us different? Well, what do the words mean? I mean, religion says they're right and we're wrong, and we say we're right and they're wrong.
Well,
how do we know we're right and they're wrong when they say they're right and we're right when we say we're right? How do we know that?
Yeah.
Well,
they always say that we have God's truth. And I say, you don't even know what truth is. Truth is something that you can verify as being correct. If you're just making it up, that's not true. I'm not saying it's false. I'm not saying that there isn't a God. I'm just saying when you say that there is a God, that's wrong. You're not telling the truth. You're just making it up.
And I like to use the Superman analogy. Okay, I like to use the Superman analogy. I wrote this in Fighting God, that Superman, if I told you, like we have a set of knowledge in this world that we know, that we all know. And things that agree with that knowledge are assumed to be true, okay? We're not talking about absolute knowledge. And it's very, very important that people understand that when you talk about knowledge, you're not talking about absolute certainty. Don't fall into the trap of absolute certainty. This is a stapler. I'm absolutely certain that this is a stapler, even though I cannot prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that it's not God disguised as a stapler. I can't. But I'm absolutely certain. We have these words, absolutely certain, sure, definite, for sure. We have these words, and that does not ever imply absolute certainty of the universe. So let's take what we know to be true, and that is that we have this set of knowledge that we as a society know to be true. We've tested it. We've peer-reviewed it. We know things to be true. Now, if you come to me and say, Superman, you have a guy who can fly like Superman. Just fly like Superman. That goes against what we know to be true. And so you're going to need proof, something to believe it. And if I say, well, I believe in my heart that there's a man who can fly, that's not real. And if you say, well, I knew a guy who said a guy saw it once, that's not true either. If really, and I'm speaking very literally now, if you told me that you knew a guy who could fly like Superman, I'd want to see that. I'd want serious proof. In fact, I would want to not only see him flying, I'd want to check him for wires.
Yeah.
Okay? And so would you. Gods break way more laws of physics than Superman flying. Way more laws of physics. And so we know that gods aren't real more than we know Superman isn't real. We know this. We are sure. Atheism is the only theological position that agrees with everything else we know in the world to be true. There's a word for things that agree with everything else we know to be true, and that word is correct. And we have a word that disagrees with everything else that we know to be true, and that word is incorrect. And when anyone finds any God, anywhere, anytime, that could show, I mean, if you show me a man who can fly, and I check him for wires, and I'm not insane, and other people see him, okay, we're wrong. People can fly. Let's change our entire worldview. But until that time, fiction is fiction. And wrong is wrong, and right is right. And we need to own how right we are. And this is why I say in Fighting God and on stage that if anyone, anywhere, can prove any supernatural anything, any ghost, any goblin, any psychic, any god, any miracle, anywhere, ever, I'll quit my job. In fact, I'll quit my job and donate all my money to that religion because I'll be wrong. And I have absolutely no fear when I say things like that because we're right and they are wrong. And we need to own how right we are.
Yeah.
So Fighting God is coming out in August. Fighting God, the paperback, is coming out in August. The book can be purchased at atheists.org, which is our website. Also at atheists.org, you can buy tickets to our convention. The convention is August 19th through 21st in Charleston, South Carolina. I do suggest you go to both conventions, Gateway to Reason and the American Atheist Convention. At the American Atheist Convention, we will be having a total eclipse of the sun, and we have a NASA scientist who's going to be on board to tell us about the total eclipse as it happens. We are going to have James Randi. You may be familiar with the Netflix movie about Madeleine Murray O'Hair that just came out that alleged that she had a second set of books in the movie. Well, guess what? We're going to be showing that movie, and we're going to have the writer from the movie, the writer and director there, and he's going to tell us from the stage, oh yeah, they made that part up. They made that part up. They're going to say, so we're going to have that. It's going to be really, really interesting. We've got Ian Harris is coming. We've got Matt Dillahunty, Seth Andrews. We've got Yvette Guinevere. We've got all the standards. James Randi is coming, but we also have Frank and Trace from Mystery Science Theater 3000. They're going to riff on God's Not Dead 2 live on stage. We're going to have Cards Against Humanity tournament. We're going to have lots and lots of booze and lots of fun. It's a very positive, happy, fun party convention, and I hope everybody comes to the American Atheist National Convention, August 19th through 21st. That's a Saturday through Monday because the eclipse is on the Monday. And the web address, again, is atheists.org. It's actually atheists.org/convention17. Also, we need your membership. We need your membership now. It used to be, and again, Tom, I remember walking into those rooms back 21 years ago. We were just so thrilled to have anybody who would just come, and we wouldn't charge, just put butts in the seats, and we were so happy. We need your membership now. We need your money. And a lot of people say, oh, he's asking for money. He's just like a religion. You know what? That helps religion too.
Yes.
Money makes the world go round. We have, American Atheists has a building. I'm sitting in a building right now with no mortgage. We don't pay rent. We don't pay a mortgage. We have solar panels on the roof. We've got 6 employees. And as I can show you in Fighting God, we have, and I will say this very, very carefully, and I hope that the people are listening to what I'm about to say. We are the only organization in the movement, and possibly the only nonprofit in the country, that has independent quantitative research from multiple sources supporting the assertion that we, as an individual organization, are changing this country. Not we as a movement, not we as Democrats or Republicans. We, the 6 employees at American Atheists, can show independent quantitative research supporting the idea that we, with a strong correlation, that we are changing this country for the better. We're that dedicated. We're that hard. And because hardness works. And guess what we need? We need money. We need money. We need memberships. We need numbers. I'm asking every single one of your listeners to go to atheists.org/monthly. We have a donor match going on right now. Every monthly donation, your first 12 months are doubled. So if you give us $20 a month, we get $40 a month for the first year. Folks, this changes everything.
Yeah.
So I'm asking every single person hearing this to stand up and, $10 a month. $10 a month changes everything, helps to change everything. at American Atheists, because we get double, and you're a member, and we get to count you as a member, and you get to be a part of this. And that's what we need.
Yeah. People don't realize that when the church is asking for money, they're saying, "Oh, God needs your money, to do God's work."
Yeah.
When organizations such as yours, everyone, especially atheists, complain about how religion is infusing everything and it's driving them crazy. It's like, well, it takes a lot of time, effort, and money to fight these things.
Yeah.
And
we have legal bills, we have salaries, we have stuff that we have to pay with. We have a very, very lean budget, and it's really important that we work together on this. It's really important that that we keep fighting it now more than ever. We have a war on our hands, and we really need your membership. We really need your life membership if you can afford it. I am proud to ask for money. Oh, and by the way, something you mentioned, churches. Here's something that churches won't do. We get our financials audited by an independent auditing firm every year, and we publish those results on the web. So you can see how we're spending our money, which you'll never get from a church. We are a nonprofit organization, like the ACLU. Well, the ACLU is not a nonprofit, but we are an activist organization. Activism costs money. Please join American Atheists today, and please come to our convention, and please go to Gateway to Reason too if you can. I mean, Gateway to Reason, I hope it's going to be a great convention. I haven't been there. I am hearing good things, and Thomas is a good guy, and I hope it's a great convention. And I wish I could be there, and I hope everybody has a wonderful time, and then I hope everybody comes to the American Atheist Convention in August.
Yeah. Well, Gateway to Reason is going to be in St. Louis, July 28th through the 30th, and he's got over 30 speakers and entertainers lined up for it, so there's going to be a lot of fun there. Hoping also to make it to the American Atheist Convention a little farther down. Gateway is actually only charging $50, which is pretty cool. I know American Atheists will be a little bit more, but there's a lot more stuff going on.
We're a bigger convention. We're more expensive. We're a little more expensive, but we do have discounts for students and military and local people to the Charleston, Atlanta area. So, and if there's a hardship, send us an email. We'll see what we can do. But we want you there more than we want your money. So please do what you can to come to the American Atheist Convention and go to Gateway to Reason and have a good time. Really, that's the key. Have a good time. Have a good time and enjoy yourself and bond with the atheists, because atheists are really good people. Once you take away, well, not once you take away the computer, but the atheists who come to these conventions are really good people. Yeah. And we're big picture thinkers, and we're well read, and we're well informed, and we care about social justice, and we care about equality, and we care about the separation of religion and government, and we care about defeating the theocrats that are in power right now. Yeah. So please come and please help us and join this movement.
Yeah, the people that come to these conventions are people who want to enjoy atheism as the family it is. Yeah. To bond with other people. So it's always fun. Yeah. Well, David, I really appreciate you taking all this time to talk with me.
No, my pleasure, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
Likewise. And we are getting ready for Gateway, and you should also get ready for the American Atheist Convention, which is going to be in South Carolina, and it's going to have a solar eclipse. And how great is that going to be?
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to it.
So I'm Tom, your friendly neighborhood atheist. I've been here with David Silverman, and we'll catch you next time. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.